Hi, doggy. How you doing? You doing good?
I'm doing good. I don't think I got a link, but I got something that's more important that I get at the end of every month from you. So it's all good.
That is true. That is true. And very consistent too. Anyway,
Yes.
what's it called? I want to get into, somebody just brought up the whole Malik Willis thing, and to me, it's kind of a lazy topic because if you're a smart football team, we'll see if they're smart. The last place that you bring Malik Willis to is the place like this, a place that doesn't have any foundation. Everybody's unproven from the general manager all the way to the coaches. We don't know how good they're going to be as a head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, whatever. All this stuff is unproven. You don't really have an offense in place. You don't have any structure. You're going to have a whole bunch of people transitioning out and in the first year or two, maybe. For me, I get why people go to the lazy route of Malik Willis because he comes from Green Bay and they come from Green Bay, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. And if I'm Malik Willis, I want to go to Minnesota. I want to go somewhere where they have more of a foundation where I can go to succeed. A young quarterback like that will fail here miserably, and it's going to look like a bad signing, and it may not be a bad signing. It may be just you didn't have the foundation to help him succeed. Like every quarterback needs a foundation to succeed, especially a young green quarterback. If I'm the Dolphins, can I draft like a project in the middle rounds, late rounds? Sure. Can I take a flyer on somebody that was cut or something like that out there? Sure, whatever. But I'm not spending a high pick or high money right now on a young guy when I don't have the foundation for him to succeed. To me, you're better off with a veteran coming in right now to deal with all the chaos that's going to go on. And then if you have a couple of young guys that you can work with, you'll work them in slowly in certain situations and try to work it. But right now, for me, if I'm the Dolphins to start this whole thing off, I'm probably going with a veteran to kind of keep that position as level headed as possible, not a Malik Willis who would have his head spinning in this place because they would demand so much from him since they need so much from that position in that offense. So your thoughts on the whole Malik Willis stuff?
It makes sense from a lot of ways, except two very critical ones. One you mentioned, and then the other one just being the salary cap situation that the Dolphins are in and the expected contract that Malik Willis will demand and that he should go ahead and take on the open market if he can get it wherever he can. So based on those two factors, and one, it makes a lot more sense for the Dolphins starting off with a new regime to go ahead and bring in. Well, you have Quinn Ewers under contract, and you're going to be running the same offense under Bobby Slowick, so that's good for him and for his development, especially since he was running a lot of those same elements at Texas, and that was part of the reason why he was brought into Mike McDaniel's system. And now Bobby Slowick can take him in and keep it going with the momentum that they've had in developing Ewers. And then you have a competition where more likely it'll be someone in the draft, maybe the mid rounds, where you can just have a couple of young guys trying to go at it in a year where there aren't many expectations. And then two, you're probably moving on from Tua Tagovailoa. You're going to take on the huge dead cap hit one way or the other, whether it's the $99 million of taking it all at once or the $67 million of making it a post June 1 cut and then splitting it over this year and then a third of it for next offseason. So once you're in that situation and you're just not going to have the funds available to go bring in a Malik Willis who is this backup in Green Bay, who is a fringe starter, who is going to command a decent pay increase. It just doesn't make sense, especially for a team that starting off will try to be getting out of this cap hell instead of just adding on to the liabilities against the salary cap. So,
And by the way, if you look at his run there this year in Green Bay, it was the first few passes that were awesome. He never played like that again. He played all right, but it wasn't like gangbusters or anything like that. It was just the first few passes that he was able to, connect on some big shots, but he wasn't really doing that constantly, overall. So I just think it's overhyped. And I just think it's just lazy links that, okay, well, he comes from Green Bay and these guys are Green Bay and, they're doing a lot of stuff Green Bay, but you added more stuff to it all on the financial side of it, which I didn't even get into on that. It just makes it, and by the way, if it becomes a bad thing, you just added more dead money to your whole problem. That's why I don't have a problem with drafting a kid in the middle to late rounds, because you're not paying shit for that kid. So if he works out or if he doesn't, whatever, bro, you cut him. But if you end up taking what is it, like 30 million he's going to ask for per year, apparently, right?
Probably. I mean, there's a range where it could, but I mean, probably around there.
Yeah. I mean, I just, with all the money that you're going to take on now, all the cap hits that you're going to take on now and the dead cap money, I just don't. I think you're better off using that money for foundational pieces instead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which I think is the route that they're going to go. The John Eric Sullivan coming in, he even said it in his opening press conference, was the team will look at all avenues of player acquisition, but free agency being one that they could be more aggressive once they get into a good cap situation, which this team is not. That's not what he inherits right now. So it's going to be built through the draft early on. So you have a young quarterback in-house in Quinn Ewers. That's going to be one. You probably bring in a similar caliber quarterback to compete. Maybe it's in the mid-rounds of the draft. Maybe it's a veteran in free agency that's, this fringe, this maybe a high-end backup, whatever the case may be, who will get a chance to compete with Quinn Ewers for that job. And then you probably have them duke it out to start off, and then see what you got in one of them, see if one of them can take you forward as you then have more foundational pieces and try to build a winner in coming seasons. And then if not, maybe you're selecting quarterback high in next year's draft, or making then an aggressive move for a similar quarterback, like the way we've seen with Sam Darnold in recent off seasons, like Malik Willis is projected to be this off season. And maybe down the road is once you're in a better salary cap situation, if you don't already have that quarterback from developing within, then that's when maybe you make an aggressive move like that in free agency or a trade.
And by the way, if I'm Malik Willis, I'm going for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to say, if I'm his agent, I'm going for the Vikings. I'm going for the Houston Texans. I'm going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's like a couple of teams out there that may have a better supporting cast for you or an opportunity. Oh, hey, I'll go to Houston. If CJ struggles again, I'll take his job. If JJ over in Minnesota isn't the guy, I can take his job. You know what I mean? There are places that you can go to if you're Malik Willis where you might get a chance to actually play and you're in a better situation. Indianapolis does not have a starter at the beginning of the year. You can probably go there. You know what I mean? I'm looking at the list now of teams around the league. If I'm Malik Willis and his agent, I'm not going to Miami, even though I don't think it's a great idea anyways for Miami. I'm going to go somewhere where I may have a chance to play, and their team is already closer to a playoff team. They have much better support for me as a quarterback where I can succeed. And some of these places that I just mentioned are much better places for Malik Willis.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe even the Jets, they're going to have cap space.
Yeah, I know. They're
just based on the cap space.
I know, but Aaron Glenn looked like a disaster, bro.
Yeah. No, I get. Yeah, I get. So those other places have a better foundation. So if now with the Steelers,
Atlanta, dude. Michael Penix is a sack of injury.
They already have two there right now.
Who's the two?
Well, because Kirk. Well, okay, because they move off Kirk Cousins with the.
Yeah, they're releasing him. They're releasing him. Yeah. They're releasing. They already did it with the whole contract thing. That was the signal that, hey, we're parting ways with you. They set it up that way, so he's gone. Michael Penix is another one, bro. All he ever does is blow a knee. So if I'm Malik, there's a whole bunch of other places that I would go to instead of Miami. You know what I mean? So both ways. If I'm Malik, it makes no sense to come to Miami. And if you're Miami, Malik doesn't make any sense for you either.
Yeah, I mean, there's reasons why it would be desirable. You've got Devon Achane back there. You've got Jalen Waddle to throw to. But it's just the way the Dolphins are going to try to build this is inside out. So they're going to prioritize the trenches first. Obviously, they understand quarterback is an important position, but I just see like whenever we start talking about would they go wide receiver or cornerback early in the draft? Which, hey, maybe if it's best player available, they could. But I just see them looking at the trenches, building a core inside the front seven, offense. That available in the draft is on the outside. Then maybe you take him with some free agency moves that help you build it inside. But yeah, I mean, Steelers, like you said, for Malik Willis. Hey, I remember my first mock draft because that was the first full offseason. I was on the beat when he was coming out through the draft, and then it was like, oh, you kind of got to put Kenny Pickett going to Pittsburgh because he comes out of Pitt. But I was like, man, Malik Willis would be a nice fit right there where they were picking. When I remember seeing Malik Willis in the Senior Bowl that year and the combine. Well, not the combine, not seeing him in the combine, but going through the combine, whatever. And yeah, then it didn't turn out that way. But
that's Tomlin. That's Tomlin. He didn't want to run a more modern NFL offense. Whereas now you're going to see with McCarthy, you're going to see a more modern, whatever West Coast style offense, whatever you want to call it. But his version of it or whatever, the Green Bay
using the mobile quarterback.
Yeah, and move things around and all that. So that'll be more to his liking. This guy was so set on the Aaron Rodgers and the Ben Roethlisbergers, and that's who he wanted out of Mason Rudolph, and that's what he wanted out of Kenny Pickett and all that. He wanted a traditional offense. That's one thing that really kind of he had. It's amazing that he kept making it to the playoffs, but it's not surprising that he didn't advance anymore because he didn't adjust to what the league was doing. So whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, now with Mike McCarthy there, could that lure Aaron Rodgers back? And then if he has a prolonged decision to make, then how does that impact the Steelers if they make a move in free agency? Because I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to make a decision by the middle of March. So we kind of saw that play out last offseason. So we'll see how that all goes with them.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, the latest hires. What do you think? Nathaniel Hackett doesn't necessarily have the greatest reputation, and the aforementioned Aaron Rodgers, his buddy, he even kind of shunned him aside there towards the end of the Jets run too. So there's a little bit of a stank right now. The Slowick thing. You kind of got a guy that but really, you kind of really didn't have a long list. I see Butch Berry leaves. You couldn't keep him. He goes to work with Mike, and I get it. There's a familiarity. He's worked with Mike and all that kind of stuff. Plus, he's a West Coast guy. He's been on a lot of West Coast teams, so he might like it out there also. So I understand all of that kind of stuff, but it smells like a first-year coach that really doesn't have the reputation yet, so he kind of has to struggle to put together a staff. That's what it kind of looks like a little bit. Whether it works out or not, I have no idea, but it just kind of looks like, it's a little bit of a struggle for him right now.
Well, I mean, he's moving quickly, so, I mean, he seems very convicted in the guys he wants. It's not like, he's striking out on bringing in guys, and then it's like it's delaying the process, and it's taking super long to make all these hires. He seems from what I can take convicted in who he wants at different spots. He wanted to run this Shanahan offense. So Bobby Slowick, obviously someone who has done it before. Obviously, he had a little bit of a stank on him from the 1 year as Houston Texans offensive coordinator, had to come back down to a passing game coordinator, and then now we'll get his shot to to get back
But
at
not
him.
heavy experience. It's not a
No,
large
he's still young.
resume.
He's still a young coach. I
Yeah,
mean, it
it's
wasn't
not a
that long
large
ago.
resume.
He was on this fast track. Like people wanted to bring him in for interviews for head coaching jobs and everything, and then he landed as an OC in Houston, and then kind of dipped back down through that season. Now he'll get another shot at it. Hackett, yeah, I mean, people are down on him because of the end with the Jets. Obviously, that bad year as his one shot as head coach with the Broncos, and we see what Sean Payton has built ever since he left. He was 4-11 that 1 year as a head coach. The 2 years with the Jets, you can't blame him for 23. Aaron Rodgers comes in and he tears his Achilles 4 plays in. 2024 obviously left a lot to be desired when you have Aaron Rodgers healthy, you have a Garrett Wilson, you have a Breece Hall, you have a Devontae Adams. I know your offensive line was shuffling a lot, but you have this great defense on the other side, and you still can't get anything going. I mean, the Dolphins didn't look too good defensively the 2 times that Jets team played against them, but people are down on him now, but then I feel like a lot of times especially when you're in this quarterback's coach position after you've had the OC, you've had the head coach, then this is a nice opportunity to just get back down to this spot and do something that he's more than capable of. I mean, let's also remember that he had Blake Bortles as quarterback with the 2017 Jaguars and a great defense on the other side. They made it to an AFC Championship game, so the first stint with the Packers, those offenses with Aaron Rodgers, they got to 3 straight NFC Championship games, 3 straight 13-win seasons with him and Matt LaFleur. There's still a lot of bright spots on Hackett. I know people are down on him right now, but this is a good position, I think, to get back to quarterback's coach. Although I did love Darrell Bevell, I always thought highly of him as a quarterback's coach. So now,
where's he land? Is he going over to McDaniel, or where's Bevel gone?
Yeah, I saw he was up for the Jets offensive coordinator job. He was one of the guys interviewing, which he did a couple years ago as well. But I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything else since. But
I hope he gets a better job than the Jets. Oh God, that's a staff that'll be blown out next year because Aaron Glenn. Oh my God, I hope he improves because he really looked bad. It looked like a disaster. Although it's the Jets, so hopefully he does stay there for many years and is terrible. So actually, it's a good thing. Yeah, now that I think about it, it's the Jets, Aaron Glenn, they deserve that. So yeah, let's keep it that way. All right. When is Arizona going to make their decision? Because Miami will never be able to name their defensive coordinator until Arizona names their head coach. Do we know?
Seriously, man, these Cardinals are holding up everything, man. I mean, the Dolphins are going down to like defensive quality control coaches and everything, and they're still holding off on officially naming.
So, where you know what? I haven't fished, and I don't really care. But how come none of you beat guys have found out which guy? Because there's a dude sitting back there somewhere in this country going, I got the Dolphins defensive coordinator job and nobody knows, and it's like somebody's got the job. You know what I'm saying, right? Somebody's got the job. It's just we can't figure out who is that somebody that is unemployed and has that connection with Hafley. So have you been able to kind of figure out his past and who's unemployed at this moment?
Well, so, I mean, there's the possibility that it's the Packers linebackers coach, Sean Dugan, I think. It's spelled like Duggan, but I think it might be pronounced Dugan.
So Doogie Howser is taking over our defense. I like it.
Because, there were reports that the Packers are losing him, and then he's the one that it seems like whoever you ask, you can't get the confirmation. So it seems like all the sides are in cahoots to not – officially put it out there, but yet the Dolphins are hiring, like they just hired this, the linebackers coach out Washington from Notre Dame, all these assistants, while they still aren't naming the defensive coordinator. So it seems like, he's the guy that he was a linebackers coach in Green Bay under Jeff Hafley as defensive coordinator, and now Hafley, who will be calling the plays on defense. it all makes sense as his name came up as one that the Packers are losing to the Dolphins, but yet that's the one that when you try to find confirmation, you just can't get it. So it seems like all those sides are trying to keep that word down so that the Dolphins can work this game. And then can the Cardinals please just do this already so we can finally move on with our lives, because this is
the
dragging
Bidwells
on long.
the Bidwells are, they're notorious for being, inadequate and goofballs. Yes. Clint Kubiak? No, that's for the Raiders. The Raiders are waiting for Clint Kubiak. Yeah, the Raiders are waiting for Clint Kubiak. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, they were waiting for that. All right. Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _. Make sure you catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, as always, great convo, my brother. Appreciate you. Have a warm weekend. All right?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend yourself.
You got it. There you go. The great David Furones. Welt Rheaume, proud sponsors of our program. And, of course, this segment, nobody better than Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume. If you need lawyers that you can trust, that you know they're going to get the job done, 954-966-4646. Unfortunately, a lot of people are dealing with bankruptcy right now, and it's growing and growing and growing because debt is growing in our country. Credit card, car repossessions are at an all-time high. They are the homeown buyers are backing out of deals like I think in the last 10 years. It's record amounts. Financial problems are happening. It can happen to me. It can happen to any of us. So if you're dealing with it, do not be embarrassed. We're all human beings and we all make mistakes. Welt Rheaume can help you out. 954-966-4646 to get those creditors off your back. Homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. I tell you all the time, they have their own adjusters. Okay, so that way, if any damage happens to your property, they send their adjusters and then they call the insurance company on your behalf. You never have to deal with the insurance company. The only thing you're going to do is pick up a check at Welt Rheaume's office. 954-966-4646. The consultation's completely free.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.